It's about becoming brave enough to start and then peaceful enough to eventually finish. That's what I've been taught. Life has been my teacher, and presence has been the subject, and this album that I'm making has been the assignment. And it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. I'm into month 2 right now, a week into it, or 2 weeks into it as of tomorrow. And that's the realization, is that first I had to become brave enough to start this. But to get to the place you want to get to with it, you have to become peaceful enough. The reality is, the first part is going to be, when you get over that fear, the first part is going to be enjoyable, most likely. Because it's like anything. I compare it to, like, life has so many different aspects, but oftentimes it's just the same thing in different uniforms. For example, I compared the side of this album that I'm making, finishing, to love. The first week was bliss, because everything is novelty, everything is new. It's the honeymoon phase, same thing. Everything is new. There's no decisions, there's no baggage, there's no anything. It's all just fresh, and you're learning, and you're enjoying, and you're excited. It's going to be fun. I tried, the week after that wasn't so. And what you have to make sure you don't do is fall into the trap of trying to replicate the feeling you had. Because you cannot recreate the feeling of something being new. You just can't do that. You can't chase that. That's a high you cannot chase, because you will not reach it again. It is meant to be unlike any other part of the process. And so the second week wasn't as blissful as the first week for me. And in the third and fourth week, I was trying to replicate that feeling I had in that first week. And the reality is that month 2, when I took a break away and I came back from month 2 taught me that that's not the feeling I need to find. The feeling I need to find is peace, and it's trust, and it's patience. And so I write, it's about becoming brave enough to start, then peaceful enough to continue and eventually finish. It's about being present. When you have this huge feat, when you are facing this huge feat, it can be very hard not to. It can be very hard not to be thinking about the whole of it all the time, or how you're going to finish it, or when you're going to finish it, and the timeline you give it, and you don't want to finish it too late, and can you even do this? It's hard not to be consumed when it's such a huge task, when you're used to maybe smaller ones. But the reality is, you can get there to the end by being consumed by that, by feeling that extra pressure that is unnecessary. You can get there. I believe you truly can get there. I've gotten to the end of many big tasks while feeling the pressure of the whole thing every single day, when reality is, here's the reality, okay? In one day, you are not going to finish the whole thing, and you know that. No matter what you tell yourself, you know that, all right? So if you allow yourself to be consumed, and you're focused to be consumed by this massive thing, when the reality is, in this one day you have whatever one task you've set yourself, that's fine. You can do that. And again, like I said, you can get to the finish line. What I've realized with this current feat for me is that I want to enjoy this. I want to enjoy this as much as I can. I don't want to suffer for no reason, for what I see as no reason. The reality is, I started at a date, and I'm going to finish it at another date. And I can get there by many, many different ways. And people will get there by many, many different ways. And no way is wrong as long as it's in alignment and fruition of the intention. But the reality is, I realize I want to enjoy this. And so every single day, I know I have a certain task. And that's my goal. That's my realization. And that's what I've been living in with the second month, is that presence, And presence can be like expressed in many different forms. Meditation, nature, walks, appreciating little moments, like taking your time, just focusing on, anything that just brings you back to the moments. They are all just expressions of the same thing, so whatever works for you. Present prayer, taking a breath, whatever it may be. Be present. One decision, one day at a time. I wrote 4 notes and left them by my creative place. Create in me a feeling of calm. Embody and experience ultimate presence. Even say it to yourself. Say, I am creating within a feeling of calm. And really feel that. Really feel the words you're blessing to be. I wrote, may my decisions come from love and peace. I wrote, let the dream be as big as it's meant to be. And that comes back to something I spoke out in the last video is do not limit what you wish to do what you think is protecting the feeling of others because of how they may react. And the last note I wrote is, may my heart lead with courage and belief. Patiently, lovingly, courageously. That's how I decided I'm going to get to the finish line. You know, and you can make your own choices. You can decide what you wish, and that is what I would advise. I'd advise that presence. You have a huge goal, you are not going to finish it in this one day. And I think it will be a lot more enjoyable if you just put your full focus on what you're actually doing today. I've made it my focus that presence becomes my lifestyle. Waking up in the morning, walking through the grass with my bare feet, speaking to flowers, enjoying nature, sitting down, not consuming media until, for me at least, at the end of the night, because I want to just appreciate the life around me and exist in the world around me and with the people around me. Making a promise to yourself to achieve a big feat. There's pressure enough in that in itself. And I think you owe it to yourself to at least make it an enjoyable process. You know, the first step is becoming courageous enough to actually start, is passing that fear to begin. You do yourself that, you pat yourself on the back. And you will get there. You will get there. Once you want something, once you want something enough, you will hit a time. Maybe you're not ready yet, but you will hit a time when you are capable. And then you will. You will pass that fear and you'll be into the action. Be present. Allow yourself to enjoy what you've wanted to do for so long. Beyond that, guys, beyond that, I hope to go live with you guys more soon. Put out different more videos. I am following intuition with this one a lot. I just want you to know that regardless, my love for you guys is endless, no matter what phase I'm in. And me spacing away from this right now is merely for the sake of my assignment right now, you know. Like I said, I did the same thing last year, not by intention to redo the same time, but it's a familiar feeling to step away from this until the time is right. And I'm very excited for the time, when the time is right, so I can show you guys what I've been doing. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Love you guys. Goodbye.